We will now present a video from the National Confederation of the Industry. Industry is the powerhouse that moves the country. It's present in all states. The video is subtitled in English. Over 500,000 companies and industries that employ millions of people. They are responsible for 25% of the country's GDP and almost 70% of Brazilian exports. This is the powerhouse represented by the National Confederation of the Industry, CNI, with SESI, SENAI, and IEL promoting the interests of this industry in the Congress and in the House of Representatives. Together, these institutions bring innovation, education, safety, and global competitiveness. SENAI has over 89,000 industries, and it's a large network with technology, with support to the competitiveness of industries. SESI is promoting the health, safety, and quality of life for industrial workers through services for companies of all sizes. With an innovative methodology focused on the market, it is the largest private education network in Brazil. IEL is present in every stage of the professional career, offering internships, bringing together universities, companies, and research centers. Renewable energy for a new generation of professionals. Brazilian industry now fosters economic growth, generating opportunities, connecting Brazil to the world, and transforming lives. Industry is more. Sistema Indústria.
A palavra ao presidente da Confederação Nacional da Indústria, Ricardo Alban.
We will now hear from Mr. Ricardo Alban, President of CNI. Good morning, dear friends from BRICS, from Brazil, from the industry, and from Rio de Janeiro. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here with you, celebrating such a momentous occasion in the current geopolitical scenario. And we hope this will be mutually interesting for all of us. I would like to salute Mr. President Luiz Inacio Lula da Silva. Thank you for being here with us so that we can indeed have this interaction between the private industry, the public sector, governments, so that we can reach greater efficiency for the society, for Brazil. Thank you, Mr. President, for being here and for giving us the honor of your presence. I would also like to thank our dear friend, and it is a joy for us to have Mr. Vice President, Mr. Alckmin, also a minister, working for the industry in our country. Thank you very much, Mr. Alckmin, for being here with us today. I would also like to salute Mr. Thani bin Ahmed Al-Zenoui, Minister of State for Foreign Trade of the United Arab Emirates. I would like to salute all diplomats and country representatives here, the State Minister, Mr. Mauro Vieira, Foreign Relations Minister, And I would like to salute all ministers that are here. I'm not going to name everyone individually due to time constraints, but I would kindly like to thank all of you for being here this morning. Mr. Mayor of Rio de Janeiro, Eduardo Paes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dear friend and partner, we have the President of the Republic and Mr. Vice President. I would like to salute the National Development Bank, BNDES of Brazil. Mr. Mercadante, the President of BNDES, could not be here due to personal reasons, but I would like to highlight that BNDES, the National Development Bank, is and will continue to be important for the development of this country. BNDES plays a key role in a country, and we have to acknowledge this so that this work, the good work, continues. We would like to thank BNDES for helping the Brazilian industry. President of FIRJAN, the Federation of Industries of Rio de Janeiro, our host, Mr. Caetano Sergio. FIRJAN is very important. And thank you, Mr. Caetano, for your presence here this morning. I would like to salute all women. The power of women in the BRICS is amazing. We have our dear friend here, Isabel, with us this morning, President of the Federation of Industries of the State of Roraima. I would like to salute all women present here in the audience. You're so deserving. President of the Federation of Bahia, Federation of Industries, Mr. Décio Lima, good partner of the industry and of SEBRAE, dear friend Francisco Neto, one of the coordinators of BRICS. Thank you, dear friend Francisco, for doing such a good job. Well, speaking of women, I have to mention this fighter who was Miss Monica Monteiro. She coordinates WBA, the Women's Business Alliance at BRICS. Monica, my father used to say that you're terrible. You should be from my state of Bahia and not from the state of Pernambuco. Thank you, Monica, so much for your hard work and from bringing women together in the BRICS. Dear friend Fausto, also from the SASI National Board, Mr. André, together we will turn COPI into an even greater powerhouse. If you think that COPI in Belém is not going to work, you're going to be much surprised. This is going to be an amazing COP conference, fully endorsed and supported by President Lula, where we will have the true interaction between public and private sectors so that we have effective commitments out of this COP conference. We have our dear friend Musa doing an amazing work. SB COP will have an amazing agenda. So thank you, Mr. Musa, for your hard work. I would like to thank all foreign delegations, authorities, and dear friends that make the private sector be this powerhouse. I would also like to salute the new countries that have joined BRICS since last year. Welcome, you're all welcome. We know that political difficulties will not hinder BRICS growth more and more. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Mr. President Luiz Inacio Lula da Silva, Mr. Vice President or Mr. Prime Minister of Malaysia, Anwar Ibrahim, welcome to the BRICS Business Forum 2025. This event is organized by the National Confederation of the Industry. This is a landmark in a cycle by Brazil. Brazil is, for the third time, the president of BRICS. Your participation in this forum shows that the public power values dialogue and the conversion with the productive sector to strengthen cooperation between BRICS countries. It also highlights the importance of this forum as a space for dialogue, articulation, and the creation of proposals to increase trade and investment in the BRICS countries. Ever since the board was created, the BRICS board and the Women's Business Alliance were created, CNI has been trying to deepen economic integration and the understanding between private sector and the governments of our countries. We have this collective work, and that's how we will reach our goals. I would like to highlight the importance of having a group to discuss and propose measures to contribute for a less unequal world by strengthening also women. As Executive Secretary of BRICS, CNI has the goal of deepening economic cooperation, identifying synergies, and promoting sustainable development of all our countries. Relationships between Brazil and other BRICS countries are very much relevant. Just last year, we received 36%, or actually the bloc received 36% of Brazilian exports, $122 billion. The investments of BRICS countries in Brazil has reached $51.5 billion in 2023. This figure shows the relevance of this bloc of countries for the growth of the industry and the national economy. The entry of new members of BRICS that add more economic power and more market, it increases business possibilities, brings new partnerships and investments to Brazil and to other BRICS countries. Currently, a trade amongst BRICS countries has been growing considerably. In spite of the individual economic relevance of each country, the volume of trade amongst ourselves is still low when compared to what is traded with the rest of the world. We must move forward. We have the example of what we wish to do with Mercosur, and we want to do the same efforts with BRICS. In 2023, we have data about trade. So the trade within BRICS moved about $1 trillion. That is 20% of the exported value and 30% of imports by the countries from this bloc. Strengthening cooperation is paramount to increase production and to consolidate a set of actions that are aligned to our priorities. Ladies and gentlemen, we live through challenging times with geopolitical conflicts, climate emergency, and technology changing very fast. Brazil occupies a singular position in the economic diplomacy and in global governance. In 2024, we led G20. This year, we are presiding the BRICS, and in November, we will host the 30th Conference of the Parties of the UN. With this singular contribution coming from Brazil to the debates, the Brazilian productive sector proposed a business forum, the creation of a business forum to debate the climate sustainable business SBCOP. This is an initiative inspired in mechanisms such as B20 and the BRICS Business Forum. to bring more dialogue with political leaders and to support practical measures so that we move towards a common development. This is very positive, not just for Brazil as a country. It is also beneficial for the productive sector. It highlights our capacity to work together, combining economic development, energy transition, sustainability, and social inclusion. Leadership in relevant global fora allows for the construction of bridges among different blocs and the search for shared solutions for challenges in the contemporary world. CNI has been very active so that these mechanisms are fighting for concrete actions that will strengthen our companies. In B20 and in SBCOP, in BRICS and in WBA, we are working for coordination and a bold agenda, striving to increase the impact and legitimacy of recommendations from the private initiative in global debates. At the BRICS Business Forum, we were pragmatic as presidents and we prioritized relevant topics that are feasible for our countries. We strived to bring results and to foster cooperation in areas such as trade, innovation, sustainability, funding, and productive inclusion. We firmly believe that collaboration between the public sector and the private sector is paramount to turn ambitions into practical actions and to turn commitments into results. The Brazilian industry can occupy strategic position in the BRICS value chains, most of all in areas such as energy transition, food security, infrastructure, and green technologies. We want to give the world what Brazil has that is at its best: creativity, production, and a commitment to a more sustainable country. I would like to thank the work conducted by the president of the Brazilian section of BRICS, our dear friend Mr. Francisco Gomes Neto, and the president of WBA, Ms. Monica Monteiro. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the industrial company that is growing in Brazil, Embraer. Let's give them a hand, please. Mr. Francisco, we would like to thank all workers at Embraer for the hard work. This is a major Brazilian company that is internationally acknowledged, so congratulations on the good work. I would like to thank business leaders and the CNI team. They have been very efficient in this work to identify priorities and to elaborate feasible proposals with huge potential impact. The Brazilian private sector will remain committed to BRICS and to promote a more integrated, dynamic, and sustainable business environment. With dialogue, with coordinated action between governments and companies, we can turn challenges into shared solutions. We can cooperate further and build a better future for everyone. I am sure that CNI will be a partner throughout this journey. Do count on us. We hope to contribute to the dialogue, and we wish success to BRICS in India next year. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy this event. Thank you very much. We will now hear from Mr. Vice President and Minister of Development, Industry, Trade and Services, Mr. Geraldo Alckmin. Mr. President Lula, President of Brazil and President of the BRICS, Mr. Bin Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia, Mr. Ricardo Alban, President of CNI. I would like to salute all business people from Brazil and from BRICS countries, state ministers, Minister of Trade of UAE, Mr. Ehud, Ms. Monica Monteiro, representing all women present, Mr. Mayor Eduardo Paes from Rio de Janeiro. Dear friends, in a little over a decade, the BRICS have turned into a major protagonist in world geopolitics. I would like to highlight the importance of this encounter, this business forum, bringing together business people, creating opportunities for investments in our countries. This will strengthen foreign trade and it will foster innovation so that we can move forward. So this is a very efficient work. I'm sure it's excellent work. Thank you, Mr. Alban. I would like to salute the business sector from all BRICS countries. President Lula has been fighting for further South-South protagonism. He has been fighting for multilateralism and free trade. It promotes development, of course. In major debates around the world, food security, Brazil is a protagonist in that area. We are the largest food exporter in the world. President Lula has just launched a record plan for this year's harvest. Over 10% increase in this year's agricultural harvest, or production rather. Brazil has just received the title of free from a disease with no vaccination. In energy transition, we have 85% of the electric energy, clean matrix, renewable, and a commitment to clean energies. Mr. President Lula has just signed an increase in ethanol from 27 to 30%, and biodiesel from 14 to 15%. Brazil has what it takes to be a major protagonist in the production of sustainable aviation fuel. This will, of course, help decarbonization. We are also present in fighting climate change. Brazil and President Lula are committed to fight climate change. Brazil has changed the deforestation curve, and our target is zero illegal deforestation. We have resources from the Amazon Fund and the Climate Fund, and we want to recover the largest tropical forest in the world, a forest that will host COP30 this year in November in the city of Belém in the state of Pará in the north of Brazil. I would like to salute all of you this morning and highlight President Lula's commitment to governance so that we can have more development, more inclusion, and more sustainability. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic, Mr. Luiz Inacio Lula da Silva.
Vocês sabem que
that I have to take photographs because we don't know who is going to run for the presidency. Elections, the presidential elections that we'll have in a year from now. So you have to take the right picture with the right person before the election. First of all, I would like to say how happy I am to be participating in this event. Every time that the presidents of the republics of many countries decide to hold an international event, it's very important. Together with the event, the presidents, the heads of state and government should be share these events with segments of the civil society. Segments of civil society that as also the business sector should be also represented and shared. Because the bottom line is that we, heads of government or state, we open the door, but those that know how to do business are the businessmen and women. And so that's why I would like to convey a message to all of you that I did accept the invitation by the Prime Minister of Malaysia so that in next October I'll participate in the ASEAN summit meeting in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. And I'd like to invite the Brazilian businessmen and women to prepare themselves to travel to Malaysia, because those that want to sell will go. Those that want to buy will also go attend the meeting. They don't just wait and expecting things to happen. So that's why, from the bottom of my heart, to thank the presence of the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Mr. Bahir, and my dear Minister, Vice President of the Republic, Geraldo Alckmin, and my dear brother, Ricardo Oban, who is the President of the National Confederation Industry. I'd like to greet all the foreign authorities attending this meeting. The Commerce Minister of UAE, and the Deputy Minister of Industry and Commerce of South Africa, Mr. Bolink, and also like to thank the presence of the foreign ambassadors here in this meeting. And above all, I would like to thank an extraordinary novelty of the BRICS, which is the participation of women, and above all, the creation of the business women group of the BRICS that is represented by Monica Monteiro from Brazil. So I'd like to greet the women's group from the businesswoman group at BRICS. And our sister Anna Mitsadova, that is the chair of the women chapters of BRICS from Russia, she's here. And our businesswoman, Jiao Haing, that is the president of the chapter for Women's Alliance at BRICS. Mariani Gaig, that is the president of the Egyptian chapter of businesswomen at BRICS. Libozan Zulu, that is the president of the chapter of the African Women's BRIC Group. Iravachi Hemavan, that is president of the Indonesian chapter of businesswomen from BRICS, and Filiwado Marchi, that is the president of the chapter of the UAE for Women's BRICS Group, and Constanta Bagri, that is the head of this group. I would like to receive the women that the place that you wish to reach, political participation, business participation, and in participating in anything that you wish to do in life depends only and solely of you being bold and dare. Do not expect that we men will be the ones, the authors of your achievements. It has to be the women themselves. You're the ones that will achieve your own space doing what you're doing now. And so I just see that only 16% in the world of women in the business world is not much. It's not much. It seems that macho tendencies still is running the business sector, and so it will change when women will take over. So men, prepare yourselves, because women will take over and increase the 16% of their share in the business world. Very well. I will also like to greet the Brazilian ministers of my delegation that are here, my brother Mauro Vieira, Foreign Affairs Minister of Brazil, and my dear brother Alexandre Silveira, Minister of Mines and Energy, and my dear Luciana Santos for Innovation, Marina Silva, the Environmental Minister of Brazil and Climate Change, and Marco Antonio Marco, that is the head of the Institutional Security Cabinet, and also it's also present here amongst us the Ambassador André Correia do Lago, who is the chairman of COP30 in the city that will be held in Belém in November of this year. I also would like to greet our dear Mayor Eduardo Paes, the mayor of the city of Rio de Janeiro, this wonderful city, marvelous city that is becoming the capital of world events that Brazil represents and organizes. I also would like to the leaders, and I also would have to thank here the president of our Bank of Brazil, Tarciana, that is showing here that the women are opening more space for themselves. My dear friends, first of all, I would like to thank the Business Council and the Business Alliance of Women for organizing this forum. And to make it closer, our productive sectors is a fundamental pillar of the BRICS. The entrepreneurs that are gathered here are the dynamic axis of international economy. The 11 full members of the BRICS already overcoming 40% of the global GDP in terms of purchasing power parity. In 2024, while the world has grown 3.3%, we can see that we had an average expansion of 4% of the BRICS countries. This year, we will continue to grow at a higher pace. Adding new countries that are our partners and guests, we consolidated the group as a hub that will gather prosperous and dynamic economies. The presence of this forum, of the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Anwar bin Ibrahim, is a reflection of this, and he's also the acting president of ASEAN. We have a lot to learn with the developing countries in terms of synergy. This allowed us to confront the global financial crisis of 2008 and the COVID-19 pandemics. With the re-emergence of protectionism, now the emerging nations have to defend the multilateral regime of trade and reform the international financial architecture. The BRICS continue to be the ones that will show us a promising future. During the Brazilian presidency or chairmanship, we gave an important step forward, supporting collectively the UN Convention for Tax Cooperation and a vision to reform the IMF, to fight inequalities, strengthen consumer markets, triggers trade, and leverages investments. We have many different economic complementarities. The trade exchange with the BRICS countries went to $210 billion last year, more than the double of trade flow with the European Union. Just in terms of agribusiness, Brazilian agribusiness, we exported $71 billion just from the agribusiness, Brazilian agribusiness. Our countries can lead a new development model based in sustainable agriculture, green industry, resilient infrastructure, and bioeconomics. We gather 33% of arable land in the world, and that is responsible for 42% of the global agriculture and livestock production. Rural credit, fostering low-carbon agriculture and restoring degraded land potentialize our capacity to produce food for the world. The BRICS were essential for the creation of the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty, to strengthen the industrial complex of health, the health in the industrial complex, to enhance access to medication is fundamental to overcome diseases that are socially determined that affect the most vulnerable countries. The technological revolution that pervades all sectors of our economies. Public digital infrastructures make it feasible innovations and create opportunities for startups, for SMS, small and medium-sized companies. Artificial intelligence brings possibilities that a few years ago we could never imagine that it could happen. In the absence of clear-cut guidelines that were agreed collectively and models based only in the experience of great big techs will impose themselves. The risks and the collateral effects of artificial intelligence demand a multilateral governance. The decarbonization of our economies is an irreversible process. Just shortly before the COP30, we reinforce our responsibility with promoting a just, inclusive ecological transition. Brazil presented its NDCs that foresees a reduction from 59% to 67% of greenhouse gas emissions. Our countries are already amongst the largest investors in renewable sources of energy in the planet. There's an immense potential to enhance the production of biofuels, batteries, solar panels, and wind power turbines. We have strategic essential minerals for the energy transition. The BRICS concentrate 84% of the reserves of rare earth, 66% of the manganese, and 63% of graphite of the world. According to the Energy International Agency, the demand for critical minerals should triple until 2040. We want to go beyond the extraction of these wealth. In the partnership with the private sector, we can qualify our participation in all the stages of the supply chain. Brazil is very well positioned for this leap forward. We have regulatory stable frameworks, qualified, skilled manpower, and clean energy for processing in an efficient manner the minerals and in a sustainable way. To consolidate so many fronts demands mobilizing resources. Yesterday, I participated in the 10th annual meeting of the governors of the new development bank. From the creation of the NDB, $40 billion were passed in 120 projects in the field of transportation, basic sanitation, and clean energy. When we trigger or leverage the use of local currencies, the NDB has also contributed to reduce transaction costs and to facilitate financial operations. With the objective to simplify trade and investments, the central banks of the BRICS are working to develop payment means that are trans-border, instant, and safe. The national development banks are also important allies. In Brazil, the National Development Bank, the BNDES, is reaching records. From 2023, we tapped more than $50 billion for projects for sustainable production transformation. Dear friends, I'd like to thank you once again for the Business Council of the BRICS has played a central role that it has been exercised in promoting trade and in the improvement of the business environment of the BRICS. I congratulate the Business Women's Alliance for their fundamental action in favor of women entrepreneurship and gender equality to enhance and qualify the women participation in the labor markets, brings productivity gains and accelerates economic growth. I have the true conviction that it is the governments that have to open doors, and the business should, men should the one and women should the one that do business. The tie between peace and development is evident. There will be no prosperity in a world that is full of conflict. The end of wars and of the conflicts that are accruing is one of the responsibilities of the heads of state and government. It is quite clear that a vacuum of leadership aggravates the multiple crises that we've been facing in our societies. I am certain that this forum and the BRICS summit meeting that will start tomorrow will show us solutions for these problems. Instead of barriers, let's promote integration. Against indifference, let's build solidarity. So that's why, my dear friends, good luck to all of you in this important event. Thank you very much.
We will now hear from Mr. Prime Minister of Malaysia, Mr. Ibrahim, Anwar bin Ibrahim.
Appreciation to President Lula da Silva, the government of Brazil, and the National Convention of Confederation of Industry for your gracious hospitality. Ministers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a historic moment. For those of you who have been following the antecedents of history, who realize the attempt to save the voice of newly emerging economies and countries post-colonialism was by Sukarno of Indonesia, Chow En-lai of China, Jawaharlal Nehru of India, Nkrumah of Africa. It was a bold attempt to ensure that the voice of conscience, those struggling for freedom and justice, is heard. Not much success. It was a bold attempt. Then we have a non-aligned movement proceeding that. We have G77 still not achieving the desired results. Now, I salute you, President Lula, for having the courage to proceed with a clear vision, a clear commitment to voice the concerns, aspirations of the people, particularly of the Global South. But why are we particularly encouraged? Because it is no longer an effort purely of political leadership. Political leaders have a role to initiate this reform. But what is spectacular in BRICS is because of the participation of the business community, the private sector, that would complement this effort and make sure that the voice of reason, the voice for justice, is heard and implemented together with the political leadership and the business community that we see today, women, youth, and the private sector. I salute you all for this attempt. I see this conference more positive. We're not talking about complaining and lamenting those who believe in unilateral actions of tariffs, of protectionism. Here, we have a voice for multilateralism, for collaboration, working with countries in the south, but still engaging with the countries in the north as friends in this new alliance. But we want to make sure that we speak from the position of strength, not weak ex-colonial countries, but as independent countries with certain position. And now you see, from aeroplane to technology to AI to food technology, you have this new strength emerging from emerging economies, and I think you can make a difference. And I believe that this BRICS attempt, it will be of some significant success that would alter and cause a change in the course of history of mankind. Thank you very much for this attempt. I come from Malaysia, and in ASEAN, we deliberate these issues. One, we must be cohesive. We must speak as one, based on multilateral arrangements. We must try and promote the principle of centrality, befriending everyone, supporting a just cause. But it's no longer plain rhetoric and political platitudes and statements. It's through concrete action. That is why one of the pillars in ASEAN is the business community. We must increase intra-ASEAN trade. Now, we must increase intra-BRICS trade. We have enormous potential to increase, because only with that strength can we safely, fairly, justly negotiate with all other partners multilaterally. We must demand a change, democratic, just, international and multilateral organization, from the United Nations to WTO to IMF and the World Bank. I again support the position taken by President Lula, one of the courageous leaders that we find today, to voice on behalf of those who have been left unheard. So thank you, my friend. We have attempted in ASEAN, other than enhancing inter-ASEAN trade, is even using financial settlement systems. We use our local currency. Of course, we're not talking about de-dollarization, because there's a long way to go. But at least we try, Malaysia with Indonesia, Malaysia with Thailand, and together with China, trying to use our own local currency, even beginning with 10 or 20%. It makes a difference, because we cannot continue complaining but not executing our own plan in our countries and our friendly neighbors. And I believe, therefore, that what the President said and what the Chairman of the Confederation said about making sure that these items are being considered seriously by the private sector will make a difference. But I come back to the major and central issue. BRICS today of 2025 is not the first attempt, the Bandung Conference of 1955. At that time, we were struggling. No industry, no new technology, no competence, except for a united nation, a country, and political leadership. Now we have political leadership with that vision, and we have strong business community. I believe this collaboration with women and the young, government and the private sector, and civil society, we will make a difference. I thank you again, Mr. President. See you in Kuala Lumpur in October. Thank you.
Senhoras e senhores, está...
Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we finalize this panel. I kindly ask Mr. Vice President and Minister of Industry, Trade and Services, Mr. Geraldo Alckmin, to remain on stage, as well as the President of CNI, Mr. Ricardo Alban. I kindly ask all of you to wait for President Lula to leave the room, and then we will begin the next session.